We'll go ahead and get started. It's good to see you guys. I thought today was a really productive day. This week in particular, from all of spring, was probably the most competitive. I think there have been guys for sure that have been on a learning curve, whereas maybe the correction period, the day after, is when you would kind of see it all come together. And I think this week we were able to see things come together the day of, the afternoon of. And so things were being installed and things were being executed, on the same day. And then the connections were being built with, hey, this is a play off of this, or this is a wrinkle off of that. And so I think to be at that stage of all of it, both offensively and defensively, is a tribute, I think, to the players. And in the very beginning of winter, we talked about ball, brotherhood, and battle, and ball being really important, and brotherhood being strengthened through ball, and then battle is like, we're not out here to lose, we're out here to win, and it takes effort to win, and it's hard to win, and to see all of that kind of come to fruition this week and this scrimmage was a positive. Thought again the quarterbacks threw the deep ball well. Were able to connect on a few of those. I thought that Sawyer showed really good decision making with some pressure, and had good outlets, and was smart with the ball and smart with his protections. I thought Daquan was able to make some plays with his feet. I thought he also redirected protections. I thought he made some plays in the quarterback run game as well. I thought receiver-wise, we're continuing to get, whether it's Ashton Hawkins or it's Jamal or some of the guys in the slot, Monterey Baldwin, make plays in space. And so that's really good to see. Defensively, Brendan Bett really showed up and had a really strong day. Keaton Thomas continues to impress. I think he's had a couple days throughout the spring where you would argue he's the best player on the field. And then, secondary-wise, I think both Devons, their ability to communicate and to get everybody lined up and on the same page when it's crazy tempo is impressive. And I think as captains of the defense, so to speak, back there, they do a great job of commanding the deal. And then, I thought Garmin Randolph is playing the best football that he's played since he's been here. And so I think whether it's an intensity thing, it's a focus thing, I think it's also like, hey, man, this is the end of it type of thing. And so whatever's had to click for him has clicked. And he's a different dude right now, and we're glad to have him. Take any questions you guys got.
Caleb talked about it, getting two jacks on the field quite a bit. Is that something back to whether it was at LSU, Wisconsin, whatever? Is that something you like to do anyway, just to get maybe some more of those playmaker types on the field?
Yes, yeah. We have a particular name for that grouping, and so it's 2 D linemen and 4 linebackers that we play with, and the rest are DBs, and so those 2 outside backers are on the edges of the front, and they can rush and or drop, and so it gives you the ability to play 4 down, but play it as if it was a 3 down. And so the principles that you would play in 3 down with, who's coming, who's going, who's rushing, who's dropping, you can now do out of 4 down, and you can manipulate protections and blocking schemes and all that, and get matchups that you want, and it's good to be able to have that. Steve has been another one that has had a great week at outside linebacker. Might have had his best week since he's been here, and so I think for those two guys to kind of come on the way they're coming on is needed. I feel just in general that's a position where our production has not been what's needed. If you look at the previous years, and if we can get what we got this week, it'd be a good thing.
second week in a row you've mentioned Keaton. Are you surprised at all in terms of him coming in here and kind of making the impact he has? And what kind of role do you expect him to play in that role this season?
A huge one. Yeah, I know in the recruiting part of it, that last stretch or that last week or 10 days was frantic. It was every minute. It was check your phone. It was all of it. And so generally when it's like that, at that time, it's like this at this time, at the later date. And so you get the play and you get all of it. And I mean, he's a dude that you really only have to say it one time and he gets it. Just his notes are really detailed, and if something's installed in the PM, in the evening, he's executing it, and then he's telling other guys what they do in the thing that was just installed. And so he's a way leader, and very, very productive. And so I think he's on his way right now. I've got to also say Matt Jones is a guy that's has been here for a long time, and you look at the inside linebacker room and outside backer room, there's dudes that have been here for a long time. And so Matt's a guy that I think has always kind of been a steady guy. I think in 21 he was kind of a guy that made flash plays, and since then has kind of been in a steady category. And Matt is making plays, and Matt is really the glue guy, and Matt is a guy where if we need a play and we need someone to kind of close out this drive, or we need someone to attack this protection, Matt's been that guy. So I'm impressed with that linebacker group and how they're progressing. We still got a whole lot of growth to go, but for where we're at right now, from where it was, it's really good.
Coach, I know a lot of the talk coming into camp was you taking more hands-on in defense, especially with the linebackers. Do you feel like a couple weeks in it's paid dividends when you see that they're further along than maybe they were last year?
It's a hard question to answer. I think I feel pissed off a whole lot more. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I feel I get mad more than I normally would. And so I think the intensity of everything is way risen up. And I just think, I think to win games on defense, it's got to be 4th and 1 every day. And I think to try to be where that's the attitude, where it's 4th and 1, and that you're bringing people together at the same time, there's a trick to that. And so we're trying our best to work that trick, But I know that everybody feels the urgency and the intensity, and it's got to start with us as coaches.
Talking to a bunch of players and coaches throughout the spring, they've talked a lot about a different vibe, a different energy this spring, maybe aside from the normal spring optimism. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think started that?
We started at the very beginning talking about ball and talking about brotherhood and talking about battle. And, for ball to be important, you have to invest time. It's interesting. There's a Marvel's movie. It's Dr. What's his name? With all the portals. Doctor Strange, man, with all the different portals and the levels and everything. And so that's football. And so you can go way, way deep if you choose to go, right? Or you could keep it shallow and kind of ride luck and happenstance and all this other thing. But to go down to all the levels is to understand the game, to understand why they are in this formation, why this particular player is put in this position, why this play is called in this down and distance, right? What is the strength? What is the vulnerability of this defensive front, right? Hey, what happened in the first drive is going to beg and borrow what's going to happen in the third drive. And so I just think all of those things are important things, and I think those happen when you go down to all the levels, And so I feel that our guys are that way, and are starting to be that way, and I think it needs to be that way, because games are won or lost in those very thin margins.
How do you feel like the offensive line is coming on? Have some new faces in there, some returners, but how do you feel like that group's coming on?
There was good and bad today. I thought there was improvement from earlier in the week. There is a major want-to there, and so starting with Mason all the way through to all of them, Ryan Legale and Colton and all those guys. But I think, we've got to get everybody healthy. I think that's a main, that's a big part of it. And then I think, some of the fronts and the multiple stuff we're doing with the tempo, I think is going to, in the end, really strengthen and fortify kind of their attack. Right now, they're kind of working through it, and so I think it's all part of it. But I like our group, man. I like the edge with our group, right? I mean, there's dudes that probably had to have more of an edge to them last year that are showing that edge now, and doing it in such a way that the football's doing the speaking, not the words after the play or before the play, and so that's good to see.
Coach, as we round into this home stretch of spring practice, have we seen separation somewhat of the organization? If not, what is that level of separation that you can see to make us start?
Yeah, I think probably one of the major contributing factors with that is what O-line is working with who, and I think to tie in the previous question with yours. And so I think when you've got some of the guys that are the young vets, I guess we should call them, when they're in there and they've played some before and all of it, and there's some time to throw it, and I think there's good on both sides of it. I mean, RJ made some good throws today. RJ was able to step up in the pocket and connect on things, and I thought there was a clean view for him to make plays. But I think if the look is, or the view is messy or dirty, and it's not the way it's drawn up, so to speak, that's where really Daquan has really shown, right? And so I think to get it to where we can get more production when the pocket's clean from everybody, and then to get more production from a few guys when the pocket breaks down, I think is where we're at. And everyone's working to that end, and I just feel like there's great confidence with that group and great confidence with the receivers in that group, and so I feel good about the direction we're headed.